Hey, lighten up, jerk!
Yeah, so let's get a little bit more about your perspective on Robert when you first met him.
Robert's always been a really nice guy, easy to get along with. I think, he's like the guy you can be comfortable around always. Kind of like that's how he appeared. I came from I remember when I started in middle school, I was super rigid. Overly serious. My parents were like, you need to get straight A's, or you're gonna be living on the street, So I'm super rigid. I'm we're in this gifted magnet school, right? So I came over from another school, Lawrence.
Oh yeah,
sixth grade. Yeah, so I moved over there because I feel like the education wasn't really up to par. I didn't get along with people there because I'm kind of an asshole. So then I go there and I'm like, okay, well I'm just gonna be quiet, be quiet. So my friend Max, the one that you talked about, was the first one. Was like, hey, he's a very good people person too. He's like, hey, man, what's up? How you doing? And I was like,
talking to me?
I was like, I don't talk to you, like I was some kind of robot or something, right? He's like, hey, and then so he says something funny, and I was like, you're funny, and then I cracked up, and I started becoming loose again, how my real personality is. Then he's like, oh, meet my other friends, and then I was like, oh, and then that's how I met Robert, and Robert came around, and I was like, oh. And I was like, wow, these guys have soda? These guys are rich. And my parents didn't give me money for that. And they were just drinking soda, eating chips. I was like, oh, can I have some, guys? I don't have any. I'm never shy. So okay, that's cool. So he definitely gave me the most. And also he bought me my own. So I was like, wow, this is a really nice guy. Wow, this is a guy to be friends with. You get your chips.
He's my best friend now.
Oh man, best friend in the world. And so that's how that started. And then he showed me his Hot Wheel car collection. I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I was like, this is very, very different, but but that was good, I like that. So obviously, as he talked about, we were both heavily into games, and that bonded us further because we're playing. And he's like, "What game is that?" I'm like, "This is called an RPG."
Well, and so I'll get to that because I grew up in the NES era, so I was playing. That was the console I had for a long time. Even up until I think it was 96 or 7, because so I went from the Nintendo Entertainment System that had a couple RPGs on there. Dragon Quest is the one that I started with. That was kind of got me down that road. And obviously I play Zelda, but I play a lot of platformers and stuff like that. Mario Brothers. If you want to view some of that stuff on Up by Up Down, we have some videos archived that you guys can watch of some of the Let's Plays that I did of that. So a little bit of a plug there. So that's kind of what I knew, and just before I met him, my parents bought me the first PlayStation, which came out, I think it was 96, 97 is when I got mine. And I got it. I got it because of a game called Gran Turismo, which is that was the first really realistic racing game. Because I at that time I was more into PC stuff, so I was doing a lot of the NASCAR racing games and stuff, like Wolfenstein 3D, more of those type of games.
Right.
And so I got this for Gran Turismo, and when I met Peter. He had, I think you had a
Cross.
Yeah, but you had a one that was modded, so you could play RIP games and stuff on yours.
Oh no, I think I borrowed that from somebody.
Borrowed that from somebody?
That wasn't my original.
But he showed me a bunch of these other games, Chrono Cross was the first game I remember us, him showing me. I was like, what is this? This looks fantastic. And he's like, oh yeah, this is a game called Chrono Cross, and I was like, this game looks amazing. So I remember I played that a little bit at his house. I ended up buying it for myself, which I'm actually replaying it at the moment. It's on my PS2 right now. And it kind of rekindled my love for RPG games, meeting him, because he showed me all these games that I had never thought about or heard about. And it's this is awesome. It kind of it brought me back to the days of playing Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest with my mom, which is kind of one of the really early RPGs. and it kind of got me down that road. And when we had MMO on here, Devin, he was talking about how you kind of delve into the games and you're really diving in, like you are with the characters. You're kind of you're not just like someone on the outside just playing a game. You're in the game, and that to me, that's kind of like what the RPG gaming is like. You're reading a book. You're in with the characters. You're there on that adventure with them, and it kind of brought. And that's how I felt when I played Dragon Quest. And these games kind of like through that I saw through Peter, it kind of brought me back to that time. And that was. We played a lot of games together.
Peter, what were some of your favorite games?
So what got me into gaming the biggest is probably my friend was. I remember at church, some kid was playing Chrono Trigger on the SNES, and I had to plug it in the back, and we're at a hotel. What it was called, sort of R. Ramada Inn?
Probably.
Yeah, one of those. And we're there, and then how back there you have to like plug in that weird sharp thing to play SNES.
Oh, the antenna.
Yeah, that antenna thing. So we did that, and we're playing, and I was like, "What is
Thank
this?"
God those are gone.
And then they're traveling through time, and a little, that's not going to be a any spoiler, but yeah, this little wave thing happens, a little blue thing, and I was like, "Whoa, what's this?" So after that, I got like really obsessive, like because I used to read a lot of books. I was just a book nerd back then,
right?
So I'll go back, and I was like up on the guide of that, and I was just like reading through each of the things, and I was like, "Oh, like you can do this, you can do that," and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like super like obsessive, right? Because I have a very obsessive personality. So then after that, when I finally got to find ways to play it on the computer, I started playing like really hardcore. And then that's when Chrono Cross came out, and I was like, whoa, it's a sequel. And I got that game, and that's where me and Robert met up, and I was like, oh yeah, you have to play this game, man. This is like the sequel to the best game ever. So that's like one of my favorite games. Obviously Final Fantasy series is like a big impact. I got older, I started playing more out of RPGs. Play everything from shooters to platformers to children games and just everything in between now. But I think back then I was really focused on the RPGs, and I had a friend that was super elite in that gaming.
Oh God,
he literally did every one of them. My friend Joe, and he was really obsessive and really crazy about it. So I felt like if he beat a game, I had to try to beat a game, but he was a little too crazy, and he beat too many of them that I couldn't catch up. But I played a lot of them. I'd say I beat a lot of them. So yeah. But that's like started that drive. I think I'm a little competitive, and even if it's just gaming, I don't know why. Like someone's like, oh, I'd be a little more, even with these trophies for PlayStation, right? Like I have a friend that's a little higher. I'm like, oh, I'll have to try to catch up. He's playing crazy style. So.
I'm about like 10 levels behind you guys.
I know, we were just talking about that recently. Yesterday I was looking, and I was like, who's closest to me? Oh, it's Robert. It's like he's catching up, right? I'm like, no, he's not.